Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Mysterious Pals Show. My name is Chris, and with me today...
Yep, maybe.
With me today, here for your viewing pleasure and ear pleasure, is my best pal, is your best pal. His dad called him the nosy neighbor once, but we just call him Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
Of course. Nosy neighbor. I got to know what's going on.
Gotta know.
That's why I'm here.
You gotta know. Before we get started, I saw something in the news recently that they're going to be having down in Florida called the Florida Man Games. I think it's in February next year, 2024.
All right.
As the date of this recording, 2024 next year.
And
it's going to include things like...
Is this like the Florida Man thing you always like see online?
Yeah, like everything that they invented. So it was like, I invented Florida Man, whatever. Yeah. In any case, it's about, it has like running from the cops through an obstacle course. Like it has like a lot of like
wrestling gators,
stuff like that. Like there's a lot of like, I'm sure it probably involves like getting.
Are they gonna be like on meth as they run through these obstacles?
I guess. I mean, there probably are anyway. I don't know. I've never been to.
Probably are anyway.
So there's a website for it, FloridaManGames.com.
At least they're leaning into it.
Yeah, I think that's what the whole idea is.
Embracing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So here's one of the weaponized pool noodle mud duel. Perfect.
What? Evading
arrest obstacle course. Category 5 cash grab. I guess like hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, they just put them in one of those like wind machines and like.
Yeah, maybe they
grab
just
the money,
throw bricks in there or something. I don't know. Catalytic converter, 2 bikes, and a handful of copper pipes race against time. Another event. Right. This is the best one. Beer. Bear. Is a bear like a rar, or is beer like the drink?
How's it spelled?
I'm asking like in general because I always say it weird. Beer. It's beer and bear.
I have
beer.
Beer is a drink. Bear.
Okay. Beer.
Bear as in like bare minimum. Or it's pronounced the same.
Or like raw bear.
Well, bear is raw bear and like
raw bear.
Raw bear.
Raw bear. He's here. Raw bear.
Maybe we should take part in this.
Yeah, well, you can register.
Since we can't read English.
Yeah. Bear, bear belly, Florida sumo. That's the other event. That's all we got.
What was the mud noodle thing? What is that?
Yeah, that's probably the
weaponized mud noodles or something like that.
Weaponized pool noodle mud duel.
All right, they're just fighting each other noodles.
Massive above ground. It's in a massive above ground pool.
Yeah, of course, above ground.
Yeah. Okay, so and the reason I heard about this. It's February 24th, 2024, in St. Augustine, Florida. So,
no, I know what we're doing for your birthday.
We got to go
this year.
Yeah. We can sponsor maybe because we can become the gold sponsor. Mysterious Pals. Oh my God.
We got to come up with a good Florida mystery.
Yes. For there. Like around that. Yeah. We can get on the scene, record after the Florida Man Games. Oh my God.
We'll do the podcast as normal, but also do like color commentary for what we're watching.
Yeah, we'll like live stream it, like shoutcast. What is that?
Yeah. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
We're like,
I need
Jimbo Jim's. He's there. He got him with the pool noodle in the face, but he has to stop to take a swig of his.
There's an actual bear,
Jim Bean,
and a gator.
Oh yeah, they should. You have to dress up as a bear or a gator. Yeah.
Fight over the needle.
If I could move anywhere, it would be to my own personal island. Then number 2 would be Florida, I think, because it just seems like
anything goes.
When you're down there, you're just part of the family.
Yeah,
it's like the Olive Garden.
It's
weird, the Olive Garden of states.
Yeah, it's weird that like the how everyone outside of Florida just kind of
craps on
Florida. I'm sure,
and it's like everybody wants to move there.
Yeah,
because California's too expensive.
Right.
Florida,
like Boca Raton, you have all those people go like retirees going down there.
Cheap. It's fun. It's sunny. I mean, hurricanes obviously is the problem.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's the best part about or the thing that would bug me about living anywhere is like, or the thing that what I would always consider is like natural disasters.
Oh yeah, that'd be terrifying. But that's an everyday thing for them. Like if you live out in like Oklahoma, like we have to worry about tornado.
I've been in a tornado once.
Yeah, you been in one?
Driving, yes. Well, I'm not like in the middle of one, but like I was going to a family member that lives in Oklahoma. We were driving there, and a tornado happened while we were there.
Oh god,
it's pretty crazy. I mean, again, that's why you'd never want to live there. Why the hell would you live there? But I know people that live there, and like their house has never been destroyed by a tornado. So it's just so random. Like
it's a lottery. Like guess what? You won the lottery.
Yeah.
Your house is
like
gone.
I have family that lives in Florida. They live on the Atlantic side.
Okay.
And we were there. Boca.
Oh right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they've never been destroyed by a hurricane. They say
they're on the Atlantic side though, right?
Yeah. They call them hurricane parties, where they basically board up their house and everybody gets together in the neighborhood and just does Florida stuff.
That's just weird to me. Like that becomes the norm. Like you have to you have no other choice unless you decide to move. Like you have to like accept that. And be like, oh,
flooding seems like the worst thing that could happen.
Flooding, yeah.
Like yes, a tornado sucks. I mean, yes, they're all horrible. Earthquake seems like it's just terrible. But
I think earthquake, because that could cause like tsunamis and
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not in my house, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't be dumb enough to live. I guess Japan got pretty messed up from that.
But I'm sensing a theme. There's some kind of theme we're going here with water. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to live by the ocean, I want to live on my own island.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a competition like a couple years ago. It wasn't a competition. It was like a raffle to win like a beach resort, like an entire thing.
Like you own the resort?
Yeah. Like it was like, I can't remember the exact story, but like, it was like they were basically getting out of the business. The owners, they were like going to raffle it off, figuring if they were going to sell it.
Fire Island?
No.
They're like, or Epstein's Island.
But like,
they're just like, we can't sell it, so we're just going to raffle off somebody. That'd be someone else's problem.
I think it was like they gained so much money from selling the raffle tickets that like they made more than they would have sold it for.
That's
like the smart thing. And then the person who
capitalism there, there you go.
Someone eventually just got it.
That's smart.
And it was like a resort. It was a real resort on an island.
Was it like?
It was in Indonesia.
Was it was it running up and running before that, or was it just like?
Yeah, totally. They were just like, here's a turnkey business. I'm not sure if like it was doing great, but like all the research I did seemed like it was pretty awesome.
So did someone won this resort?
I think so. I think I followed it up until like I think I bought like one entry because it was like $10 or something.
So you entered it.
I did because it was like $20. It was like something cheap. It might have been like 50.
I bet they got like so many people to like take part in that.
Exactly, because why wouldn't you? All over the world, it was a worldwide thing. They hired some company to do it. We gotta look into
that, man. I wonder what it's like now. Like if what the person did with that.
They just showed up there like,
this is mine.
Why would I do this?
Yeah, like the upkeep on that.
Exactly.
So I'm getting island. I'm getting water from this talk. What are we talking about today?
Yes, today I want to talk about something that is. It's crazy because it's never been solved, but it seems like it's from a time. And we're talking about, I'm going to dance around a little bit here, do a little jig around it here.
A little tippy tap.
Yeah, it's from a time, we're talking specifically in 1800s, that like kind of came and went. In that with it's not, this type of thing is not around anymore. But I'll stop being a weirdo and dance around. So the Flannan Islands or Isles, the Flannan Isles off Scotland.
Yeah.
Okay. They're alternatively known as the Seven Hunters.
Seven Hunters?
Seven Hunters. That's the name of the island chain. Or that was what it's known as. It's called the Flannan.
Okay.
And it's something in Gaelic, which I can't pronounce.
All right.
As we know, we're bad at pronouncing.
Yeah, we're not good. Yeah.
So it's a group of remote, uninhabited islands in the North Atlantic, located 20 miles west of Scotland.
All right.
Yeah. So North Atlantic Ocean. There was a 75-foot lighthouse called the Eilean Mor on the largest of the islands, which was built between I don't know what is the 1900s, but I just keep on saying that. 1895 to 1899.
Okay.
And it was first lit in December of 1899. So this is built very late 1800s.
Okay. It says 75 feet.
It's 75 feet tall, the lighthouse itself.
Is that, I know nothing about lighthouses and like the upkeep of them. Is that is that big for a lighthouse?
I
It's
don't
got,
know.
I mean, I feel like it's got a bit.
Did you know that the government was like selling lighthouses like for nothing? Like
No.
you can buy a lighthouse property.
Are they not being used anymore?
No, it's all GPS now. Boats don't need that crap.
Right.
So, but yeah, there was like the story a couple months ago about it. Like you can just buy a lighthouse for pretty cheap, and it's your house, your property. It's still there. It doesn't work, obviously.
Yeah.
I think they're still usable, or maybe some places they still use them. I'm not sure. But
all right, there was a movie that came out a few years ago.
The Lighthouse. Was it black and white?
Yes, I didn't see it.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we'll go over because we're gonna mention that. It's not exactly what this is about, but you're in the right track.
You're about
You're on the right
life in the lighthouse.
You're going directly towards Florida here. You got it. You're going the right way. So this lighthouse, Eilean Mor, it was manned by three lighthouse keepers.
Okay.
There's three guys there. December of 1900, these three men, they may possibly have been taken aboard or taken.
Like kidnapped?
Kidnapped, thank you. By a ghost ship called the Phantom of the Seven Hunters.
There you go, Seven Hunters.
Seven Hunters, right? The original name, or it's well known as.
So that's translated from Gaelic, the Seven Hunters?
No, I don't know what it's like. It's not pronounced. That's just what it's known as to like locals.
Okay.
Yeah. So because there's another island, there's other two islands next to this. There's other islands near this, right? Okay. It's kind of like here we see this island chain out there, right? We can't get to it or whatever.
Right.
They may have been taken by the Phantom of the Seven Hunters, which is a group of ghosts and phantoms or whatever who are unhappy about the intrusion of modern life because of building a lighthouse. These people are living there now.
There's a lot of, okay.
So we're going to be talking about the Flannan Isles Lighthouse mystery, which is also known as the Flannan Isles disappearance.
Okay.
This is not the same as the Smalls Lighthouse tragedy, which was the movie The Lighthouse, which the black and white movie was based on, which as a movie I've seen, because it's just so insane. It's just like black and white movie with two guys.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did you like it?
It was because it's weird. It's really good.
So I know I wanted to see that because it's done by like a studio called A24, and they did like Hereditary, Midsummer.
Yeah.
Uncut Gems. Like they do some like very odd, but like very good, very, very good movies.
Yeah. And that's what this. So the Smalls Lighthouse tragedy, for those who don't know, it's a tragedy that it isn't a mystery.
So the Lighthouse movie is based on the Small House.
Different, but people confuse the two.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
Because it kind of happened
around the same time,
but also it was two mysteries involving. But the small, which I'm going to talk about, the Small Lighthouse tragedy was not associated with it, and it wasn't a mystery because they knew what happened.
Oh, all right. Okay.
So with the lighthouse, the Smalls Lighthouse tragedy, not the Flannan Isles disappearance mystery, was these two guys, Thomas Howe and Thomas Griffith. They're a two-person team that managed the lighthouse, and they were publicly known the quarrel, which they just didn't like each other or whatever.
Mm-hmm. This is the Smallman one.
This is the small one. Okay. This isn't the real one. This is the one with the mystery. But just that house, I'm just going to say this because that was not the real mystery.
Okay.
This isn't a mystery. The Smalls Lighthouse tragedy was these two guys. There's a freak accident. One of them died. And because they were known not to hate each other and kind of quarrel a lot and not really get along.
So was it really a freak accident then?
Well, the reason why he didn't want to just dump them into the ocean, the guy that survived.
Spoilers. Right.
He built a makeshift coffin because he started to decompose because they're on this island for a long time.
Yeah. So that's what I was like, I've always wondered, like, people that man these things,
right?
Are they by themselves?
No.
Probably not. But then you would have to get along with someone else you're with. Like you have to be able to get along with them.
Right.
You're isolated.
So
I don't know how long these people are out here for, but like you need to be able to get along with them. You're not, I feel like you're not doing too much. Again, I don't know anything about lighthouses. But.
So a lot in America, the lighthouses in America that were around the 1800s, 1900s, before it all came automated, they were usually families.
Oh, well,
they called it a stag light or something. Basically, it was like they made it more like a house.
That makes sense.
So family, you carried it on as you grew,
family business.
Yeah. So
all right, that makes sense. Okay.
But in this part of the world, I guess Britain and everything, there was like an actual governing body that, just like in America, there was a governing body and stuff. But anyway, and we'll go into more of that kind of law and stuff like that later. Back to the small lighthouse tragedy. So as Thomas Griffith's body, he was the one who died. He was decomposing. So the other one, before he got picked up, there was, at this time also, there was no way to contact. There was no like telegram. There's no way to contact anybody if you're on an uninhabited island.
Right.
They didn't have electric. They didn't have any way of contacting the outside. This is also an issue in the mystery today. But so Thomas Griffin, because he knew there were so many weeks or months before he was going to get picked up, he made a coffin out of just wood laying around and then hung him off the side of the lighthouse. And what happens when storms blew in, they started banging the thing around, and part of it fell off, and the guy's arm was just out there hanging around. So when the wind blew, he looked like he was waving for help.
Oh my goodness!
But he knew he was dead because it was decomposing.
Yeah, right.
But so the story goes that the guy's arm was just hanging out the box, and as the wind blew, his hand. So the guy that was waiting to be picked up, Thomas Howe, kept on seeing this, and it drove him nuts.
Yeah, because at that point you're alone.
So he knew he was decomposing. Yeah. He knew he was dead, but he was just there alone, just watching,
seeing someone wait.
And he so really, so I guess whenever he got picked up, it was like really messed him up. People didn't even recognize him. Stuff like that. The story goes, right. The original story. So that's what the movie's about. The Lighthouse movie. Okay. Now there is a movie about.
This is not an actual mystery.
That's not a mystery.
The Flannan ones.
Flannan Isles disappearance is a mystery, which is what we're talking about. And there is a movie with Gerard Butler came out in 2018 about this movie, or about this incident. It's called The Vanishing.
Okay.
It was originally called The Keepers, but then they changed it to The Vanishing for whatever reason. I did read up a synopsis of the movie and like watch a preview of it and stuff. I'm like, okay. It's not like, it's just like loosely based on it.
Okay.
But the cool thing is it could be what happened. We'll talk about it. So again, 2018 film The Vanishing was loosely based on this story. So we're talking about the Flannan Isles Lighthouse mystery. Flannan Isles Lighthouse mystery. Flannan Isles Lighthouse was a lighthouse near the highest point of Eilean Mor, one of the Flannan Islands in the Outer Hebrides, or Hebrides, of the west coast of Scotland. So this is a chain of islands.
Yeah.
The Flannan Islands are 7 of them. They were the uninhabited part. There are other islands. Lewis and Harris, I think, was actually one of the other islands. Okay. Lewis actually had like a town on it or something because there's a way they communicated. But anyway, we'll go over that in a minute. This took place in 1900, specifically in December of 1900, that this mystery started.
Okay.
So,
but it was built in 1899, or was first lit in 1899?
December. It was a year prior. Okay. 8th December of 1899. The first hint of any type of issue was December 15th of 1900. The steamer, the Archtor, was on passage from Philadelphia to Leith, which I think is in Scotland. It passed the islands in poor weather, but noted that the lighthouse was not operational. So it was December 15th, wasn't operational, the lighthouse, which it should have been.
Right.
Because it was like a poor weather.
Yeah. That's the purpose the lighthouse should be on.
So this was reported on arrival. It was reported to the proper channels, but it wasn't really taken. Again, we've talked about many times, like information didn't move quickly.
No.
So it was reported, but no action was taken until later. The actual mystery begins when a relief ship called the Hesperus arrived on December 26th of 1900. So 9 days after the Archtor passed it and was like, hey, there's a problem here. Reported it.
This relief ship to go. These people are supposed to come pick up the people in the lighthouse?
Yeah, and change out. Okay. Like, we're going here to give supplies.
Gotcha.
And I think switch out. I think.
Okay.
Because it's really weird how
it's
all
resupply
set up.
Them.
But resupply ships are pretty common, apparently.
Okay.
But anyway, maybe. Yeah, so yes, it was. They were going to deliver supplies and relieve the lighthouse. There's just 3 of them there.
Okay.
Upon arrival, the relief crew discovered the lighthouse was unmanned and the keepers were nowhere to be found. So it wasn't working when they got there. So a lighthouse keeper, and I'm going to just do a little, here's what go. This comes from a lighthouse glossary of terms.
This is good because I have no idea how this works.
A lighthouse keeper is a person responsible for tending and caring for a lighthouse, particularly the lights and the lens in the days when oil lamps and clockwork mechanisms were used. So this is all like stuff they had to like, it wasn't electric.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have no idea how these people like were able to, what the work behind when it's not electric, like what do you have to do, what's involved in like keeping that going?
Right. Because a lighthouse is during storms, fog, like just
safe
at
passage,
night so that boats don't slam into
crash.
rocks.
Yeah.
They built them all over the place. You know, I think there's still a lot of lighthouses in use, maybe in like other parts of the world, maybe in some ways, but a lot of ships, especially the way ships work now, they're all GPS focused. So the lighthouse keepers were needed to trim wicks, replenish fuel, wind clockworks, perform maintenance tasks, and cleaning lenses in windows. They also responsible for fog signals, so like the sound as opposed to just the light, because if it's too foggy, you can't see the light.
Yeah.
So they made sounds so the ships would hear the sound as opposed to seeing light. And they also served as a weather station, which if they have no communication, I don't know why they would serve as a weather station. How would they get that information out? Right, whatever.
Signals,
maybe. Yeah, and that,
light signals,
maybe that makes sense. We'll talk about it in a minute. They also played a major role in search and rescue of ships. So they would use their light to focus.
Oh, okay. Right.
Like when stuff would happen.
That makes sense.
Yeah, kind of like, what's that guy from
Sauron?
How'd you know I was thinking about that?
What's that moving eye? Yeah.
I would love to stand like I wonder if they were, it must have been magnified. So you stick your face behind it and you're just your big face like
going out
being
in
projected
the
out. Guy, I'm here.
Jor-El.
That's why I could never be professional in most things because I would just screw around too much.
But yeah, you'd have to, right?
Yeah,
you'd be bored. I feel like a lot of times you'd be really bored. Like I know.
I mean, nowadays you wouldn't because you could just play Xbox or
that's
watch
I'm glad you like kind of like went a little bit about like the upkeep of this place. Like obviously you have to like keep the thing lit, but like how much time does that actually take? Like what are you doing the rest of the time? Like you gotta be able to entertain yourself. But like I was saying earlier, you also have to be able to get along with the people that you're doing this with.
And there's actually laws.
That could be a big problem.
There was laws in the British Isles and stuff, there's parts of the world that there had to be 3 people there at all times.
3 people, okay.
Yeah, and in other parts of the world it was like 2.
Okay.
But this specifically, I guess this point in time, there had to be 3.
Okay.
I guess. And we're going to why that makes sense later.
All right.
Because most of these lighthouses were on remote islands or inaccessible areas that on islands and coastlines, it's typical for the work of the lighthouse keeper to live at the lighthouse for an extended period of time. And sometimes in America, it was typical that it was like a family home. And I guess it still happened in the British Isles in some places, but because it was like the governing body that was really strict on all that stuff, I guess it was more of just there was 3 guys, usually men. I think it was like 1916, the first female lighthouse keeper was like allowed to operate, whatever. So the lighthouse setup, this lighthouse specifically, the Eilean Mor, the lighthouse was 150 to 200 feet above sea level, so above on the cliff. There were 2 landings on this island. There was the east landing and the west landing. The east landing had a railway tracks led up to the lighthouse because it was like up on a hill.
Oh,
it was down to the ocean. It was 150 feet to 200 feet above.
Yeah, okay,
just to the building. So on the east landing,
it's probably like we're doing like not like flat islands. They're probably like cliff.
No, they're all cliffs, right? Because it's
Scotland.
Sea level
in Scotland. Yeah.
So they had railway tracks that would basically all because you figure they have fuel, food, a lot of fuel, like a lot of materials.
Yeah,
would have to be lifted from the sea off a boat,
right?
So they had railway tracks that went up to the house. That was basically a big cable line that would pull a car up. That was gas or steam powered. Very steep gradients. All these details really go into like. The reason why I'm bringing them up is because we want to know the layout so we know what could have happened.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Theories.
Sure, yeah.
So the little car that would drag stuff from the ocean up to the building had a small steam engine in a shed adjoining to the lighthouse, so it was a different building. The track descended from the lighthouse and curved around to the south down to the east landing. There was a crane on the eastern landing for unloading cargo and then loading it into this cart. And the the winter prior, this is important. The crane comes up a lot. The winter prior, which would have been the year it opened.
First it was lit. Yeah.
The crane was destroyed in a storm, and they had to build a new one. So this is a new crane. Okay. Supposedly it was stronger, more able to handle the weather. But
so the weather can be very temperamental.
Yeah. And maybe they didn't know that the weather had been that bad because it's remote, and that's why they didn't know the first one didn't survive. But the crane, which was very important to loading, because again, the entire purpose of being there is fuel getting to this light. So it's paraffin wax.
Okay.
Paraffin oil. I'm sorry. Paraffin wax and paraffin oil. I guess same exact thing. 20 barrels a year was used by the lighthouse. So it's not that much. 20 barrels a year.
Barrel. I mean,
barrels are big, but 20 a year.
So have you ever seen a keg? I don't know if there's the same measurements because again, this is Scotland. But if you, like a normal keg you see in college, that's half a barrel.
Yeah.
So double that.
I guess a barrel isn't really like a
measurement. It's not anymore.
Yeah.
It's not. Well, I mean, it was for liquids, but I don't think it's really used much anymore, as far as I know. I could be wrong.
Right.
At least with regards to beer.
Okay. So the lighthouse keepers of the Eilean Mor were 3 guys. Thomas Marshall, he was the principal keeper. And I think 1916 was the first female principal keeper. That's what I was trying to remember.
Okay.
That's where that came up earlier. He had over 20 years experience in service of his role as a lighthouse keeper. James Ducat and Donald MacArthur were also seasoned keepers. This wasn't their first show.
So they know what they're doing. They've been doing it.
They know how to sit around and wait for dark, and light something up. Yeah.
Wipe some glass and light a
exactly
big old.
So these guys
candle.
know what's going on. They're around. They're probably just normal guys. They know how it works. You have to be really. Yes, I mean, this is no different from someone living on a submarine. The Navy and stuff like that.
I don't know.
Less people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the guys that drive the ocean liner, the
barges?
cargo across the ocean. I mean, there's not that many of those guys either.
No, but like at least you feel like you're moving. They're just kind of like stuck in one place.
Yeah,
again, it's you said 75 feet tall, but like they're not like wide. It just kind of like I feel like I don't know, for some reason it's
not leaving. And it's not like you have electricity.
I feel like not claustrophobic, but like there's not much to explore.
Right. Yeah. You walk the first day, you explore the entire island. It seems like.
Yeah.
And then you're just kind of looking at the ocean rest of the time. Like, should I jump in or what? Because this sucks.
Yeah. He was like, well, here we are.
Yeah. There's literally nothing else going on.
Should we play some cards again or?
Yeah. And if you eat everything the first week, it's not like you just sit around and you have to like ration everything.
Right. You can't.
They're not showing up. Apparently, they only show up like every 6 to 8 weeks, I guess.
Oh my God. And I imagine you can't really do much walking around either.
You can keep running in circles.
Yeah.
They're also
no one's really
island.
jogging then. So it's like they're outside like running, doing, jogging for exercise.
Seems like there's a lot of hills too. So you break your ankle or something.
Or like you could easily fall like a cliff, I don't.
And on this island was also they called it the shack or something. And it was a stone building, but it was like, a church. I don't know if it was like from the previous inhabitants or whatever, but it was like really small. There's pictures of it online.
Yeah.
Really weird looking thing. It's like just stacked stone, but it was like really small. And the guys that live there call it the shack, I believe. Maybe we'll get back up to that. I can't remember.
It
was small. It was like a doghouse.
But they were like, I'm going to go out and just be alone.
Yeah.
Get away from you guys for a second. It
seems like so boring.
It'd be, yes. I can see why they'd want more than one person doing it because you'd lose your mind. Yeah.
The reports and the general knowledge about this information, about this story is logbooks. There was logbooks kept by the keepers. And so there's a lot of like stories of like, oh, this guy was saying this and he's talking about all these storms and this guy was talking about, and he's saying crazy things in the logs. And they're like, but there was an investigation by Mike Dash from the 14 Times, which I guess is some kind of publication. He revealed the log books were completely fictional, and there were later additions to the story to make it seem like these guys were going crazy.
So wait, someone just made these fake logs?
Yeah, like as part of the story, like way to make it more interesting. Like to try to work into the thing that maybe one guy was going crazy and But try to get into like the mind of them.
But it was
completely fictional.
But they were keeping logs though.
No.
No, they don't keep logs?
There was no log. Apparently there was no logs.
Okay.
That the logs were fictional.
Okay.
And if there was logs, there was nothing in it that were important enough to be saved in history. So going back to that relief ship, the relief vessel, the Hesperus, was scheduled to arrive at the Flannan Isle on December 20th, but due to rough seas, it was delayed till December 26th. So even that was 6 days later, and that's what some of the logs books said. The storms were getting worse, and we realized that we were getting our relief ship. So like they were going crazy, thinking that they were just going to die. You know, like that's what the fictional log said.
Yeah,
they were trying to play up that like that ship was laying, but it really was just pretty typical. Like rough seas, obviously in this part of the world. Yeah. Like it could have been months, you know, depending. But it seems like these guys had plenty of food. Like everything was fine.
Okay,
there was plenty
Nothing
of everything.
Out of the ordinary.
Right.
Okay.
The weather on the day of the relief vessel's arrival was noted to be particularly stormy with heavy rain and strong winds, but they still arrived, so couldn't have been that bad. Right. The crew of the Hesperus and the relief keeper found that the flag staff had no flag. They must have taken it down. These are little clues to being like, what's actually going on? So when would they have taken that flag down? What time of day? Probably in the evening, which means they've already took the flag down. When did they disappear?
Sorry, why would they take it down?
Well, I mean, it's typical with flags. You wouldn't leave it up, especially in rough storm air winds.
Yeah,
Maybe they took it down for that. So it's like kind of like the speculation about this is like, well, the flag came down. It's something to just remember later. The flag was down, which means they took it down for some reason.
Yeah, there's a reason.
It should have been up. And usually the flags were used to like signal problems for passing ships sometimes.
Okay.
Possibly. None of the usual provisions, boxes, things like that have been left on the landing stage for restocking. So they didn't bring any empty boxes down to be loaded. Like they weren't preparing for the relief ship yet, which means it could have been a bit of time since if December 20th is when they arrived, the Archtor passed December 15th or so. So there was nothing ready for the relief ship. So that means they weren't even preparing for the relief ship yet, which means they probably disappeared before the 20th of December, when the original arrival date was.
Right.
More ominously.
Ominously.
Ominously?
Is that a word?
The hell? I don't know.
Like ominous?
Words are bad.
They more.
It's fine. We're going to keep going. More scarily.
Foreboding? No. Ominously.
I'm not an English teacher.
I think that's a word.
Yeah, whatever. Ominous. More ominously. It's probably something else. Whatever. I can't say words. Anyway, more ominously. Do it?
I just don't know if that's an actual word.
More ominously. I say it really fast. More ominously. More ominously.
Yeah,
none of the lighthouse keepers were there to welcome them ashore. So normally they would have seen them coming.
Yeah.
Went down and greeted them.
Right.
Nothing was prepared for pickup or restocking. They weren't prepared for it.
Flag was gone. If the ship was late, they would be that much more ready to be like, hey.
And also the materials would have been, the restocking stuff would have been down there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, empty barrels, that kind of
stuff. They'd be more like inclined to be down there.
Right. Jim Harvey, the captain of the Hesperus, attempted to reach them by blowing the ship's whistle and firing a flare, but was unsuccessful. So before they even got to shore, they noticed nothing was on the landing. Okay. Flag was gone. Flag. No one's there. What the hell? Mm-hmm. So some historians have said that the keepers may have been aware of the delay, which may have added to their stress and anxiety about running out of supplies. That goes back to that fake, log entries. But really, no one really knows. Maybe they were, but they still would have had stuff ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be like desperate to get.
If they were that scared about, but we'll find out, like, they had plenty of food and stuff.
Okay.
Which means they didn't use any of their supplies or because they disappeared so early. Anyway, boat was launched and Joseph Mor, the relief keeper, was put ashore alone. So this one guy that was supposed to be relieving, he went ashore. He found the entrance gates to the compound and the main door both closed. There's a gate getting to like the main compound, like the main house.
Would they be locked from within?
They were just closed.
Okay.
He doesn't say if they're locked.
Okay.
They were just closed. The beds were unmade.
Okay.
The clock was unwound.
Mm-hmm.
So the clocks.
They weren't doing their job.
Right. So this is just a general clock in the house.
Oh.
Just a clock. Like clocks around the house
Yeah.
that you would have to tell time.
Right.
This time you had to wind them. The clocks were stopped, and other signs indicated the accident must have happened about at least a week ago, because it took basically the clocks are wound for a week. Like they stay wound for 1 week.
Is that when the initial ship went by right around the same time?
No, this was the Archtor was like the 15th. These guys probably didn't even know about the Archtor yet.
Okay.
Because it was like only 9 days later. They were already been en route at the point the Archtor passed and sent the report in.
They're saying by the fact that the clocks had stopped. What were their estimate? How long they was stopped?
The clocks were wound they could be wound for 1 week. You had to wind them every week. They only stay wound for 1 week.
Right. So when was that time? At what point? How many days was it when that first ship went by and they noticed like that
There's no light was on.
Yeah.
That was the 15th, and this is the 26th.
So that could have been around the same time, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. The last time the clocks were wound.
Yeah. In any case, I mean, no one would have been able to know that.
Right. I'm just saying that the timing
right
lines up a little bit there.
So he returned to the landing stage, returned to the ship, and said, "No one's here. We don't know what's going on. The doors were shut. Stuff was unwound.
Mm-hmm.
Something's happened." So the whole group, the second mate and the seaman of the Hesperus, they came ashore or whatever. They started to search. They realized, or they noted, that the lamps had been cleaned and refilled. So before they disappeared, they cleaned and refilled the lamps, which means they were planning on turning them on. Mm-hmm. They didn't turn them on. They didn't clock the lights. That paints a picture of timeline, because they were cleaned them and refilled them before the nighttime.
Okay.
Because if they were out, then that means that something happened while they were lit, or at that point.
Yeah.
That they had run and then went out. They looked all around the island. Couldn't find anybody, obviously. The lamps were found to be perfect working order, and they had sufficient fuel for at least several more weeks. So again, they had plenty of fuel to run the lights. The kitchen table was set for a meal with one overturned chair, as if the keepers had abruptly left their meal. It was set for a meal, probably getting ready to serve or maybe getting ready to cook. One chair was flipped over. Again, the doors were shut. So it's not like wind blew in and knocked stuff over.
Yeah. Was it set for 3 people? I'm guessing that's what they mean. Yeah. Okay.
Personal belongings, including clothing and outerwear, were left behind. So all their stuff was there. They didn't leave unless they were taken. There was one remaining waterproof coat. So 2 waterproof coats were gone.
We're gone, yeah.
Which the owner surely would have taken if they were heading outside and they left a living quarters. So there's some reason, if they were leaving, they should have taken their waterproof coat if it was a storm or something going on. But 2 guys did.
Yeah.
The way that this place communicates, because there's no telegram, there's no electricity, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The way they communicate is there was a telegraph in Lewis, which was another island. Lewis and Harris, I think is what it's called.
It's part of the same chain of islands?
No, it's not part of the 700s. It's like the other set of islands that would view these. Like these are like smaller islands outside of, from Lewis and Harris, I think was another island that was more inhabited. There was no telegraph connection in Eilean Mor, obviously, but there was a smaller lamp they used to contact a watcher on Lewis. So someone would see, hey, this light is being, maybe they shot this light directly at the person's face, like when he's sleeping or something. They know, hey, we need help or something. Mm-hmm. That's how they would contact. And they probably do that, like that old fashioned, like light,
like hand signals,
like 2 on. It's like Morse code, but with light, like 1 on, 1 off, whatever. At the landings, they found everything was intact at the east landing, but the west landing provided considerable evidence of damage caused by recent storms. So a box at 33 meters or 108 feet above sea level had been broken and its contents were strewn about. Iron railings were bent over. The iron railway by the path was wrenched out of its concrete, and a rock weighing more than a ton had just been displaced. Okay. So a bunch of damage on the west landing.
Yeah.
So I guess both landings had ways of getting up to the house. On top of the cliff, more than 60 meters or 200 feet above the sea, the top of the cliff, turf had been ripped away as far as 33 feet from the cliff edge. So,
Jeez.
like
All right.
turf being like
Yeah.
grass and
Yeah.
stuff, have been ripped away from the cliff edge, 33 feet. Okay, so that's the scene that these guys walked into.
Sorry, did you say anything about the crane?
The crane was still there.
Okay.
There was a crane
okay.
there.
Yeah.
West and east. This was on the west. There was damage on the west.
Okay.
Eastern landing was still there. That's where the crane was, I think.
Okay.
That's how it worked. The crane was definitely on the east, but I'm not sure if there was a crane on the west. And I'm not sure why they had 2 landings. Maybe case of storm stuff. I don't know. There was a letter from Mr. J. Moore. He was assistant lightkeeper who was due for relief duty at this lighthouse, the Eilean Mor. So his letter says, Flannan Isles Lighthouse, December 28th, 1900. This is the 28th he's writing this. The following day, we traversed the island from end to end, but still nothing to be seen to convince us of what had happened or how anything happened. Nothing appears touched at the East Landing to show that they were taken from there. So nothing from the East Landing was taken. Ropes are all in their respective places in the shelter, just as they were left after the relief on the 7th. So this must have been December 7th is when these guys got dropped off. I think. Not possible.
Okay.
At some point, I think it was 6 weeks, so it might have been November 7th. On the west side is somewhat different. This is still the letter from the guy. We had an old box halfway up the railway for holding West Landing mooring ropes and tackle, and it is gone. Some of the ropes, it appears, got washed out of it. They lie strewn on the rocks near the crane. The crane itself is safe. This is on the west side, so there must have been 2 cranes.
Okay.
That's what I missed. There's 2 cranes, one on each side. The crane on the east side was the one that got damaged and had to be replaced the year prior. The west crane is still the same crane. But anyway, the crane is safe on the west side. So everything's there. Okay, there. The NLB, which is the National Lighthouse Bureau for the British Isles, Scotland, Britain, something like that. Like it's the governing body of the lighthouses in Scotland.
Okay.
Scotland, part of Britain.
Yeah. Yeah, there's varying levels. There's a United Kingdom, Great Britain.
Is Scotland part of
Isles.
the United Kingdom?
Yes.
Yeah. Seems weird over there. Because Ireland doesn't like...
Northern Ireland
Okay, that's what it is. Ireland's
is part of
broken
it. Then the Republic of Ireland is not the United Kingdom. I have to...
I mean, seems like great places. I'd love to go to those places.
Yeah.
England sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Love to go to London. You been there?
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
Damn it.
It's awesome.
Ireland seems amazing.
Yeah, really cool.
Scotland seems even better.
Sounds cool. Yeah.
Just like super pretty, like all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's every time we did a train from Glasgow to Edinburgh, and I was like, oh man, like Highlander. I just wanted to like maybe want to watch the Highlander movies.
Right. I found out that like I'm mostly Welsh, like
Oh yeah.
80%
Okay.
or 70% or something
Yeah.
like that. I just realized that I found that out like last couple of years.
The royal family was Welsh. Or is
Probably
Welsh.
me. What if that's what I was hoping. I'm like, what if this tells me? I'm like, Mr. Deeds. You ever see Mr. Deeds?
Yes.
Where the guy shows
Are
up
they
and
Welsh?
he's
Yeah,
like,
they
it's
got
like
some Welsh in them. Yeah, Mr. Deeds, I've seen it. Yeah.
I mean, what if I'm like a long last ancestor? Like, oh no, the king is dead and there's only one person to take over. The Kingdom of Wales.
Where's Chris when you need him?
Yeah, and they're like, they
You're
go
like,
through
"Here
like the
I am."
research. Like, hey, this dude's over there.
Yeah, he does a YouTube thing about mysteries.
Like, we'll just pretend like he doesn't exist. The bloodline dies. Anyway, the NLB, the National Lighthouse Bureau, again, said that something made at least one keeper abandon his post because the NLB specifically the rules of the NLB strictly states that the house is to be manned by at least one worker at all times. So it's very strict that they have to have at least someone there to operate the light. Like if the other 2 guys go off and die, you can't all go 3 go die.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to, one of you has to be there to operate that light.
Hmm.
The bodies were never recovered, nor were any personal effects ever found which indicate they ended up in the sea. So did the NLB deny? They were like,
Personal effects.
we have no way of saying what happened to this person, so we can't close this case because we don't know what happened. There's no way for us to know if they fell into the sea. Obviously, where else would they have went?
Yeah.
But still, we're going to go into some theories.
Okay. All right.
Now, what are you thinking? Where do these guys go? Before I get into these theories, because some of these are crazy.
Yeah. The first thing I thought of since like when you were painting that dinner table scene, and you mentioned that
big brush.
Yeah. When you mentioned that one of the raincoats was still or like out, like
one raincoat was
still there. It makes you think maybe a fight happened. You say one of the chairs was like kind of overturned. You kind of stormed off because again, you're around these people. I've imagined for a while, you might butt heads because you're all kind of like trapped together in a very small area. You can't really go exploring outside or anything like that. So you think like maybe you got in an argument. One guy like kind of stormed off. Other guys were like, all right, man, dude, we should probably go check on him, like go after him. So they put their coats on. And
then one guy didn't put his coat on when he left.
Yeah, well, the guy might have been mad,
but left. The very strict rule. These guys are seasoned guys. Yeah, if that comes back up.
Yeah.
One person has to be there. So it had to be something very. I like that thinking.
Yeah.
The realization.
So I was thinking maybe like something happened to that guy. Like he fell in. Other two guys, like two other guys who had their rain gear on, went after him, bring him back inside. Like, hey, we still got a job to do. Or like, let's calm down. Let's talk about this. Because again, you're in very tight quarters. Like I see them button heads. Like you said, though, they are veterans. They know what they're doing.
The rules are.
They know the rules. They I feel like they probably already have that mentality of being able to do something like this without kind of losing their cool.
Right. Maybe they're like, hey, we can handle this. Whatever. Everybody does it anyway.
Right.
It's a stupid.
So maybe
rule.
the guy fell off the cliff until the guys try to save him. They all just died. That was my original thought when he first brought this stuff up. But then like the boulder,
right?
And like the turf,
right?
And that but they don't know. Storm came,
and that's why I said like in the mid story, like there's little hints of like there was already storm, there was already stuff was going on. Was that happening after they already disappeared? Or did that cause them to disappear? Right. The Archtor mentioned that there was bad storms and stuff going on when they passed and the light wasn't on.
Maybe they all blew away.
I don't know. All right, so let's go into this theories then.
Okay, hit me.
So I'm gonna go what I think is the craziest to the most realistic.
Okay.
Right. The first one, should we know?
Ghost ship?
Well.
Alien. Yetis?
So, what's more crazy? Alien abduction or ghost ship?
What's more crazy? Ooh.
Because I rated these in craziest to the most likely.
I like that.
So I have alien abduction, then supernatural. Paranormal.
So you have alien before?
First. Yeah.
Before ghost ship.
Yeah.
I would have the other way.
Okay. Well, we're friends. Two different guys. So the first one that I think is the craziest, you think is dumb, stupid, idiot stuff.
I didn't say that.
Apparently this is the most normal. Alien abduction is a far-fetched, obviously, theory that I think
both are,
that involved in the guys being taken by aliens.
I like that. I do abducted. Like that alien abduction is always like one thing that's out there for any kind of disappearance.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It always comes up for all this stuff.
It's always there.
Yeah. Except for King Alaric.
Right. Well, yeah.
Well, maybe aliens did actually take that guy, but the rest are all crazy. Anyway, the second craziest. And apparently I'm the craziest for putting in this order.
Maybe the guy was like, do you see this light out here? It's not our lighthouse going off. Like, what would it be?
It's a lighthouse in the sky.
He was just like, holy like he like flipped the chair. Like, he ran out there and like.
No coat on.
No coat on.
And they're like, hey, Jimmy, get back here.
I'm being abducted. And the other guy's like, well, let's be somewhat warm and not wet if we get abducted. So
I like how you made him, from Texas and not from Scotland. You gave him the Texas twang.
Did I really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize I did that.
Oh, Jimmy, get out here.
Oh, hell.
Supernatural or paranormal would be the next one. So local folklore legends about the Flannan Islands. There's a lot of like obviously fairies, spirits, and in Scotland, a lot of the fairies and spirits type of thing, and
will-o'-the-wisps.
Yeah, maybe something like that, or the Phantom of the Seven Hunters could have came and taken them for modernizing their islands.
But I do like. I'm not saying that's the case, but that could also like we've talked about like folklore and like cautionary tales.
Yeah,
maybe that's like people who are kind of like not so or more traditional or kind of against the modernization. Maybe what's going on.
Right.
So they're like it's a cautionary tale.
Yeah. Don't swim out to these islands because the 700 is going to come get you. Yeah.
The ghost ship will get you.
Exactly. Hey kids, don't
But I feel like that happens a lot in
Don't
history.
go tooling around on that rowboat of yours you just got when you turned 16.
Yeah. Stay away from that lighthouse.
The next crazy thing is a hoax or a prank. So a less conventional theory suggests that the keepers may have staged their own disappearance as part of a hoax. The idea is considered unlikely due to dedication and professionalism. Again, that goes back to like setting up who these guys are. They're pretty professional. They've been doing this for a long time. Why would they do this as a prank? Why did they run away? You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, what would be the benefit for them to do that?
Maybe life insurance type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if life insurance existed back then, but whatever.
Yeah.
Next one, freak wave.
Definitely possible, right?
Right. And notice my ordering of this because freak wave. Okay. One prevailing theory suggests a massive, exceptionally powerful rogue wave, commonly referred as a freak wave, may have struck the island. Such a wave could have been overwhelmed the lighthouse and swept the keepers out to sea. The theory is supported by unpredictability in the North Atlantic waters. So, I mean, there was a story.
Very choppy, wild waters over there. And like the fact, again, the boulder, the turf.
There was a story about this type of incident. And I don't think it might have been the Smalls Lighthouse, but I don't think it was. There was kind of like a lot of different stories, obviously, where a rogue wave hit one of these lighthouses and basically filled the lighthouse up so much that it took all the keepers and slammed them off the roof, and one of them died. Like, because it was like just like filled up the lighthouse so much that it like slammed. Like, that's what the story was that I read about them. It was basically like they just went boom, and then one died from his injuries. I don't know if that was a Smalls Lighthouse. I'm not sure. I don't think it wasn't this lighthouse, obviously, but it was some lighthouse in the area or part of the stories of tragedies in lighthouses.
Ease.
So that's the freak wave theory. The abduction or kidnapping theory, not the same as being abducted by the aliens
or ghost ship,
right? There is speculation, a possibility of an external party, such as pirates or criminals, landing on the island, abducting the creepers for unknown reasons. And that is actually the story of The Vanishing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It's about gold, pirate gold, basically. Oh. And like, spoiler alert, not a very good movie apparently, but it's apparently it's decent, but it's about pirate gold.
So gold. So they're saying there's pirate gold on this lighthouse?
Something washes up.
Okay.
In the movie, something a guy shows up. He's dead apparently, or something, on a rowboat, and there's gold on it. This is in the trailer, and then they take the gold, and some other ship shows up to try to get it back, and be like, "Oh, we know it's here."
Or they fought over it.
Right. We go to that. There is little concrete evidence, but it's possible because some would say, well, there was no gold left, but that's because the pirates came and took them or something. Like, there was evidence, and this is the 1900s.
Yeah.
You know, piracy is still a thing now. So it could have been these guys, but why would they show up and just take these guys? What was the reason for that? Like, why would they come and just take 3 guys? Unless they came and killed them, but then nothing was like, they didn't take anything. The pirates didn't take anything else. Right. What was the purpose of them coming there? It's not like they wanted to whack the pair from oil.
Left them for dead too, not that taking their bodies or kidnapping them.
But they didn't take anything in the house. The door was shut and the gate was shut. Remember, that goes back to like building this like story. The gate and door were shut.
That's very weird.
If it was kidnappers, they would have kicked the door in and left. They wouldn't have cared of tidying the place up.
Yeah.
Right. Next one is murder or violence among the keepers. This theory proposes that a violent altercation or murder took place between the keepers, leading to the disappearance. But all 3 were gone.
You have to say all 3, though.
The theory is based on the journal entry. There was no journals, but that's what this theory is based on. That Ducat was irritable, and that tensions may have been risen because of missing. You know, maybe they were running out of materials or supplies, which they weren't. So that's what that story is. It's kind of a silly thing, but it could have been a fight between them that. But again, there's 3 guys that were missing. So did they both? Was there a big fight?
2 of them died, and the other guy was just like, I can't keep living. So he just killed himself. I don't know.
But also, like, was it like a movie where they were fighting next to the cliff? Like, why would they be fighting next to a cliff and then they all fell over?
Yeah.
The other theory, theory.
But also there wasn't other than that chair being flipped over. There's no signs of anything odd, right?
Altercations.
Inside? Yeah.
Right. Nope. Everything's
no.
clean and set up right.
Right.
Wasn't like the table was flipped over.
Yeah, a chair. That's it.
Right.
And sorry, you said none of their actual personal possessions were still there?
Everything was still there. Except for those two
Everything
coats.
was still there.
Everything was still there, except for those two coats. So it wasn't like they left.
Okay.
Because they were taking their stuff with them, I would imagine, unless they were smart enough to leave it behind because they're trying to disappear. Another theory is suicide or some kind of mental breakdown between them. Some have considered that one or more of the keepers may have experienced a mental breakdown or extreme stress due to isolation, harsh weather, demanding nature of the job.
Mm-hmm.
How demanding can this job be?
I think it's more of a mental thing.
Mental demanding, yeah.
But
it's
again,
not like it's like
But again, they're also like seasoned people.
Right. They've been there before. They've done this for 20 or one of them was 20 years in. A couple of those were pretty experienced. Again, it comes back up to that idea of like these guys are there. They've been there before. This isn't new.
Maybe they just also might have had enough though.
It's not the reason I brought up the train tracks and the steam engine. They had a way of getting it. It's not like they're physically lifting these barrels up this,
Right.
So
I wonder, like, I don't know. Do you think this is paid? You're being paid well for this?
I mean, you're getting paid.
Yeah.
You're also just sitting in a house for weeks, so how much are they paying you? They're giving you food and
but I feel like it's a pretty important job though.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important, but you're also just, I mean, imagine it's demanding, mentally demanding.
Yeah.
It is. So they should be paying you, right?
Yeah.
But you're also just hanging out on an island, which seems, if you love fishing, imagine just being on an island. Like you've literally nothing else to do except for clean some glass.
Yeah.
And fish, which sounds like, I don't like fishing, but it sounds like if you love fishing, that'd be ideal. So maybe these guys are really into fishing. 1900s, what else are you going to do?
That's what I want to know, like exactly how much work is like they're doing during the day. Other than, like cleaning. Yeah.
What else are they doing? They're not cutting grass or anything.
Yeah.
It's not like they're gardening.
Yeah, I gotta go mulch.
Yeah. Are they going to run down a Home Depot or something? I don't know. Another theory is accidental drowning or falling. They said one of this theory kind of goes into maybe one of them or two of them fell off the cliff or doing some kind of maintenance fell into the ocean. I mean, these guys had to have fallen into the ocean or something. Yeah. If they're going to die this way, they had to have gone into the ocean. So there was some kind of accident which caused all three of them to go into the ocean.
Right.
So again, we're going to the most common. Right, so this seems pretty common that there had to be something that caused them to fall into the ocean.
Yeah.
And actually, that's my most common. That's the last one.
Okay.
So
I don't like any of these, man.
The accidental drowning or falling into the ocean was kind of the most common theory.
That seems most, but like
they were doing something outside.
All three of them, though.
All three of them at the same time.
I mean, not necessarily at the same time, but like
all three of them in the same situation.
Yeah.
Like if one.
Wow, all three.
So here's
there was a rogue wave, like something, a big enough wave or big enough storm.
It didn't take them out of the house. It wasn't as big as the house, but it was still something was going on that caused one of them to run out without his coats.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them got their coats on and followed him, even though they're not allowed to have all three leave at the same time. One person stay behind. So one guy went out.
Yeah.
Both of them, something was happening so bad that two of them followed.
Right.
Got prepared and then followed.
Yeah.
On the web, we're going to go over this and then I want to hear some more of your theories here. On the website, the Museum of Scottish Lighthouses, there's a copy of the telegram dated December 26, 1900 from Captain Harvey who sent it to the Northern Lighthouse Board. That was the NLB, Northern Lighthouse Board. This is what it says in the telegram. A dreadful accident has happened at the Flannans. The three keepers, Duquette, Marshall, and the occasional. I don't know what the occasional means. And the occasional? I don't know. Anyway.
All right.
It says, this is quoted. Have disappeared from the island. The clocks were stopped and other signs indicated the accident must have happened about a week ago. Poor fellows must have blown over the cliffs or drowned trying to secure a crane or something like that. That's exact words from the telegram. from Captain Harvey to the NLB, which is the Northern Lighthouse Board.
But the cranes seemed fine when they got there, though, right?
Right.
Because maybe they secured it. But then
they were done securing it, and they were like, "All right, let's go. Let's go for a swim."
Yeah. Then I don't know, man.
So what are you thinking now? What are you thinking about this? I will say the official investigations were conducted by the NLB and officially determined, although I think it's still an open case because this is officially what they confirmed, but there was no evidence.
Hard evidence, yeah.
The cause of disappearance, but no conclusive evidence were ever found. Northern Lighthouse Board concluded that the men had been carried away by the sea. That's it. So they concluded.
I mean,
so what do you think?
I'm glad you listened the way you did. Obviously, I feel like they all somehow ended up the sea, but how though? That's what I'm not.
What was the situation leading them to the sea?
Right. I want to keep saying something. There's a reason why someone wasn't wearing the raincoat. Right. Something had to have happened for that gentleman to go outside not wearing it. And the other two were like, well, we got to go out there too, maybe to save the other guy. So let's be prepared at least.
It's the Northern Atlantic, so it's not like this is like some tropical.
Yeah, it's not dry.
It's cold,
wet, windy.
It's December.
Yeah. I imagine the waves are battering at the side of the cliffs here. Again, haven't been in this particular island, but I'd imagine with the wind, it might kind of be hard to you might be wobbling around a little bit, lose your footing maybe.
Seasoned guys would have known.
Maybe one of them just went out to do something, but why wouldn't he have his coat with him? And the other two,
what would cause one of them to run away?
That's what I don't understand, man. Maybe that's what that made. I'm going back to what I initially thought is there might have been an argument that happened because a chair was flipped.
One chair, but everything else was fine.
And I'm thinking the guy, or I'm saying that the chair flipped. And the guy who flipped the chair, maybe out of an argument, rushed outside without thinking because he was so mad. That's why he didn't have a raincoat. Other two guys were like, well, we should probably go after him. Then how do they all end up and die? That's what I don't understand. I'm saying a rogue wave. Might explain the boulder. Might explain the turf. You said the turf went 33 feet away, from the cliff edge. From the cliff edge, yeah. Maybe they were standing on that, not near the cliff edge, but maybe they're on some part of that, and they
magic carpet ride, magic turf ride.
Whoa! And then they're just dead.
Yep,
smacked off the side of the rocks, and they're floating on the ocean, ocean somewhere.
You think they died on the top? They died and then got blown into the ocean, or washed in the ocean? They had blunt force trauma. There's so much stuff, and we go back.
I'm gonna say blunt force trauma. Yeah, I'm going with that. There's something about that chair being flipped. There's something I keep focusing on that, but there's something about the chair being flipped.
Right.
And something
I think that's why it's interesting. That's why I want to include it. There's such an interesting point of doors are shut. So not only did they flip the chair, the gate and the door is shut. What closed the gate?
I forgot about that. Maybe a wave or the wind. I don't know, man. I forgot about that. I could say maybe a strong enough wind gust.
But they closed the gate. The gate probably was latched.
Yeah.
It could have been blown shut, right?
Yeah.
The door was shut, and there was no damage on the inside from wind or anything. It's not like the door was banging off and then it shut. And these are older doors. They probably weren't just a latch.
Probably very heavy doors too.
And they were probably not the latch type that we have that automatically latch. Maybe they're more manual latched.
They're using real strong, sturdy wood, I would imagine, for those doors too.
Yeah. Oaks.
Specifically, because that's what they used back then, but also specifically you in the climate you're in, you need doors like that, I would imagine. Oh man, I don't know. I'm sticking with an argument happened. Dude ran outside. But you guys went after him, and then they just got struck by. Because there was a storm going on, right? It was
they mentioned it was a stormy type of time because the Archtor drove past on the 15th. It was storming.
Yeah.
Whenever the other guys trying to showed up, the light wasn't on the 15th. The other guys tried to.
There's no flag either, though, right?
No, that was.
The flag was down. Oh, when the actual
Hesperus
showed
up. Sorry. There was the flag was gone,
right?
Or not there, not up. And they also were delayed because of storms, but the Archtor was 5 days before they were supposed to. Hesperus was supposed to be there. So this is
This is just like the Mirror Celeste thing, man. They're like, I have like a general idea, but there's that one small thing. You're just like, well, what about this? And it just throws my theory away.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Is every little, that's why I brought up all those little details. That's why it's important. But I'm going to go back here. I'm going to bring up this again. So the eastern landing was fine. Right. The western landing, they found considerable amount of damage caused by recent storms. So that wasn't mean that that just was normal storms. Just maybe they weren't cleaning up after them. No one cleaned up after them. It's just standard. But a box at 33 meters or 108 feet above sea level had been broken. Contents were strewn everywhere. Iron railings were bent over. Iron railings being like at the sea level, like at the landing.
Okay.
Railings so you don't fall in the ocean.
They were bent?
They were bent over. The iron railway by the path was wrenched out of its concrete, so the railing where the cart would go up.
Jeez.
And a rock weighing more than a ton had been displaced.
Right.
On top of the cliff, more than 60 meters or 200 feet above the sea, turf had been ripped away as far as 33 feet from the cliff edge. So there was damage on the western edge. That gives, the winds must have been strong enough to rip that stuff off. Or water.
Yeah.
Not damage anywhere else. It seems like there was no other damage other than that turf being ripped off because it could have been wind or could have been a wave.
Right. But
still, that wave would have had to hit 200 feet above. If the guys were in the house eating and that wave hit, they would have been fine. What caused them to run out prior to a wave that big hitting?
Yeah.
Or was that turf damaged 20 days before they disappeared in another storm?
Oh, right. Yeah. That's true too. Yeah.
There's no data. There's no way for them to know when exactly.
Yeah.
But there was damage to materials, the iron railing, which was bent over.
Mm-hmm. That box.
What bent that railing over?
Yeah. That's something.
Was it rain? Was it wind?
Ship
or was it the guys fighting?
Oh.
But also, it doesn't explain what ripped the railing or the rails out of the concrete.
Yeah, that's a thing. Like
I'm talking about the iron railings.
Okay.
That would have
been
the
hand rails.
Yes,
yeah.
Thank you.
But you're saying that the iron
rail from the
cart
was ripped out of its concrete, and it had to be pretty heavy.
The heck.
Form.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. The little details of like every little thing you look at suggests something different.
Yeah, and that drives me nuts. I don't like it. What do you think happened? Because like I said, this is what I think happened. And then there's like some other small thing that comes in and like just kind of throws it out the window.
I think that there was a loud bang or crush, or maybe that one guy that was sitting at that chair looked out the window and noticed a big wave hit or something. That box got knocked over, that rock got knocked over.
Okay.
Whatever.
Because that would feel like we'd be very loud.
So that guy jumped up. The other guys look. He runs out. The other guys look and say, "Oh crap! Look what's going down on the western landing."
Yeah.
Because it doesn't say. I guess it doesn't really say like what they can see from where they're sitting. Or one of the guys ran past the chair when he was chasing the other guy out because the crane's getting taken over.
Sure,
or like
the
railing's getting bent.
The suddenness of everything.
Right, so it's just typically he runs by and it knocks it over because he's running out.
I didn't think of that. That makes sense. Yeah.
The one guy runs out without his coat. The other two grab their coats, run out.
It's something significant they could have lost possibly during this wave or wind gust.
Some reason why, but it seems like the box of materials that were blown around, right?
You wonder what was in those.
Broken and its contents were strewn about. I remember reading something about there was something in there that it was basically just materials.
Yeah.
Like it was just metal and stuff, like stuff for repairs and stuff. It wasn't really, but it was, I think they brought it up because it was so heavy.
Okay.
Like we're not talking about like a cardboard box. We're talking about an actual serious wooden box.
Like a crate.
So these guys run out,
chase him out. Our Pokemon cards. No.
Yeah. That's where it started. The best Pikachu. So they run out. They chase down the hill after this guy. He's going to try to secure the crane or something, but the crane was fine. So obviously they achieved it. One gets washed over, and the other guy goes to try to help him because he's hanging on. The other guy runs over there. The other guy gets washed over, and all three of them go. Something washed them away from the western landing is what I think. A big wave came, washed them away.
Yeah, like clearly something big happened to move that boulder, to break that crate, the rail.
The boulder being a big deal too. It lifted a boulder and moved it.
Yeah. So we both agree like they were like taken out to sea, whether that's how they died.
Did they get slammed off the rocks and then pulled out to sea?
But I'm just curious as to like what brought them out there in the first.
Yeah, that's the
like
question.
you said, because they said that stuff could have like happened after.
Obviously, they got washed away.
Yeah, that stuff could have happened afterwards.
Right. Obviously, they got washed away. But what caused them all to run out there at the same point? That's why the abduction theory comes up.
Yeah, right.
Someone come in and take them. Like maybe the one guy was sitting at the table when he saw this boat landing. He's like, "Oh crap, what's going on?" These,
we're not
pirates
expecting
are
anybody.
Yeah, he runs down there to see what's going on. He gets smacked in the face with a sword or something. The other two go after him. Like what causes those other two guys to leave, knowing very well only one guy has to stay home at all times because they're seasoned. They know the rules.
Right. It must have been quite the danger.
Right.
But I'm surprised that it's like, I know it's just a lighthouse. Well, me not knowing anything how to operate a lighthouse, but I'm surprised there's no logs being kept. Like I know you said there's a fake one that apparently there was, or said there was a log out there, but
I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of typical like clean the lights at this time.
Yeah, like we did at this time.
Refilled at this time. Like there's probably a
supply log and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's probably like a diary.
Yeah.
An event log.
It's a shame because it'd be funny, like not funny. I don't know. I'd say that, but like a diary, like if someone had kept one saying like, "Hey, we're not doing so good," like so and so's,
And that's why
ate my Fruit Loops today. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna push him off the cliff.
When was Fruit Loops invented?
Nah, not then.
I found
Captain Crunch, maybe. No.
Just the gross Captain Crunch, like the stupid barrels. And Crunch. Crunch berries are delicious. That other garbage is stupid.
Crunch berries is great.
The other yellow garbage things.
It's a regular Captain Crunch, yeah.
Stupid. Who the hell eats that crap?
I don't know if I've had it, but I don't know if I like it or not.
I know there's those weirdos out there like, I love the original Captain Crunch. You can go to hell. You know what the hell you're talking about. I love cereal, but you're an idiot.
It was great. I'm still working on some Captain Crunch, Count Chocula.
I love Count Chocula. Remember that one year we had our college house, we had like 20 boxes of it. We're just hoarding it. And then you realize like it doesn't last that long. So like a month in, we're like, well, this is gross and stale. But that first couple of weeks, it was,
man, we're like kings.
My stomach hurt so much. It was so delicious. So much sugar.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, it was so good. I mean, they come out with another one recently. Different flavor.
They've done like the Frankenberry, the blueberry.
There's another one too.
They redid a wolf.
The wolf one.
It's like a mixed berry thing, I think, or something like that. Yeah.
Idiots.
Count Chocula.
Count Chocula's delicious.
Yeah.
One box is all you need.
Yes.
Even the little regular ones, gross, but this combination.
Yeah.
Crispix, really delicious.
Good.
But the reason I bring up cereal, we should make a cereal podcast. There's probably one out there. Like they're not the cereal murders, just talking about how delicious cereal is.
We'll get talk about cereal and cereal murders.
Nah, there's already one. There's already one like that.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the famous one. Like the one true crime thing is cereal. Something like that.
Well, I guess we're stuck with this then. You guys are stuck with us.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you're...
Oh, yeah. We're talking about this. We're still doing a podcast.
I just do this a normal day. Fruit Loops are all the same flavor.
What do you mean Fruit Loops are all the same? There's just one Fruit Loop.
Right? Fruit Loops.
Oh, the individual ones.
They're all the same flavor.
Yeah. They're just different colors. Yeah.
Am I the only jackass that knew this? Like, didn't know this?
Aren't they all the fruity things like that? Like, isn't Fruity Pebbles the same way?
Fruity Pebbles can go to hell.
Fruit what?
Fruity Pebbles can go to hell.
Oh, so
gives you such bad indigestion. You just burp like for months and you're just like, oh, Fruity Pebbles. Cocoa Pebbles, delicious.
Wait.
Cocoa Pebbles are delicious. Fruity Pebbles can go to hell.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
I do like Cocoa Pebbles. Trash.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll step on that in the parking lot after I buy it.
Sorry, I think it's talking about Cocoa Puffs. I like Cocoa Puffs too.
Cocoa Puffs are delicious.
Yeah.
I remember this. They get stuck in your throat and you feel like you're going to die sometimes though. You're like, oh.
Yeah. If they're not wet enough.
They're like perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe they
the best way to die.
Kill each other over cereal.
More about cereal. You know that I do like Raisin Bran Crunch You can only eat like 2 bowls and you're like, I gotta stop.
Well, yeah.
It's so good. Raisin Bran
Colon
itself,
blow.
gross. Yeah. Yeah, there's some great cereal out there.
Yeah. You know what? I like Kix, man.
Oh yeah.
I do enjoy Kix.
Kid tested, mother approved.
Yeah.
I love Kix. I haven't had that in a while.
I
But there's a Cocoa Puffs. It's the same Cocoa Puffs problem. It's stuck in your throat.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm gonna die because it's like the perfect size.
Perfect ball.
Yeah, it's
of
just
death.
it's like so good, but so bad. There's a lot of weird new like all the cereal that's out now, it's like the newer stuff sucks.
I haven't tried it.
Now we're sponsored by what was that name? What was that one cereal company that always does the podcast?
Yeah.
Not Urban Spoon, but
It's something Spoon.
yeah, something Spoon.
It's
Great
like cereal
Spoon.
for adults.
Yeah, I'm like, nah, you're
And
dumb.
it's like $20 a box.
No, I'm okay. I want
Pass.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Give me the sugar.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch is delicious.
I don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon. I like cinnamon, but not in cereal.
In the last episode of Mysterious Pals, Mysterious Non-Friends Anymore is the name of the new podcast. Check out, tune into our new podcast.
It's called Mysterious
Enemies.
Pal.
Mysterious, not my friend.
Yeah, we don't do it in the same room anymore.
What if we like actually did a podcast about eating cereal and we just ate cereal on podcast and it's like
Would that still be ASMR?
I don't know.
Because isn't ASMR supposed to be like ASMR is like sounds, but like isn't it supposed to be like
If someone's
quiet?
eating in my ear, no. The most unsuccessful. I'm sure there's people that like it. You know, do what you like.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to
I'm
that.
sure someone out there that'll
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay me, I'll do it. You know, I'll eat all kind of crap in the mic.
get into OnlyFans just for like eating loud, crunchy food.
Yeah, I mean, just YouTube.
$20. Give me $20.
Yeah, there's this one YouTube channel someone I heard about that was just like a guy driving around for hours. He's like drives around in the rain.
Does he talk?
No, he just drives around in the rain
Good for
and he
him,
just
man.
records himself driving in the
Good.
rain.
I bet he's doing all right.
Yeah. Or-
If he found that niche.
Anyway.
Niche.
Niche. Anyway, Jordan, thank you for being here today. We're not going to solve this mystery sitting in my basement.
Yeah.
We could solve it eating some cereal, though. We should make cereal that makes me think about this disaster, this tragedy.
Like little lighthouse shaped marshmallows. Yeah.
All right. Jordan, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Next week, we got a very interesting episode that's a mystery as it goes.
Really?
Thank you all for watching or being here, listening with us today, joining us on this journey. We have socials. If you would like to join us on that journey,
Yes.
Facebook, Instagram, Threads at Mysterious Pals, Twitter or X
Stupid.
at Mysterious_Pals, because someone took our name, which apparently is a bot, I think. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to support us, you like us, you think we're adorable, go ahead and give us a subscribe, please. We would love. That would really help us out, keep us going. If you're listening on podcasts, feed, platform, whatever you're listening on, go ahead and hit that subscribe button or follow button, leave us a comment, whatever you can do, whatever you want to do. I don't want to ruin your day. I don't want to take up your time. Please just whatever you can do, whatever you want to do.
Just hit the button.
Just hit the button. But just being here also is important to us.
Yes.
We want you to be here with
Yes.
us. So thank you for joining.
This was cereal talk.
Like we can't say that. It's no copyright. Cut that out. Yeah. I don't actually know the name of that cereal thing. Cereal bowl. Whatever. I don't want to get sued. Anyway, thank you for joining us here today. And tune in next week for a new mysterious journey.
With your
Maybe some
pals.
more cereal talk. As always.
Stay mysterious.